Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is John. I got options. Today we are talking about Tesla and the Cybercab opportunity. We're going to break down how the Cybercab opportunity brings me to a price target of $1,452 per share by the end of 2028. That gives us a 5.46 trillion market cap company for Tesla somewhere towards the end of 2028. Now, how do I get here? Well, first, you have to ask yourself, what are the actual numbers for a single Robotaxi? So let's break that down. How much can a Cybercab make in a day? Cybercab, Robotaxi, call it what you want. Now, to answer this question, we need to first ask ourselves, what is the actual utility of the battery life of the Cybercab in one battery cycle? Now, my guess is that once the battery hits about 20%, they're going to send it to a supercharger and it's going to recharge to about 80%. Why are they going to do that? Because they want to extend the life of the battery for the Cybercab. So hopefully we can get 300, 400, 500,000 miles out of each Cybercab to extend the life, extend the value, all that. So really, we're only looking at a 60% utility for each battery cycle. Now, a full battery gives us 293 miles of range. So 60%, we're at about 176 miles per charge. Now, in my math, I'm assuming each trip is about 7 miles, and one cycle you're gonna get roughly 25 rides. So you're anywhere between 56 and 60 rides a day. And I accounted for the fact that you have downtime at night between midnight and 5 a.m. I did my math to be only like 2 to 4 rides in that time frame. And each ride is going to be $6 is your average charge per ride. Why? Because a small ride, you're still gonna get $4 or $5 because there's going to be a minimum fee regardless of how far you're going. So even if it's a 2-3 minute ride, you're still gonna get $3, $4, $5 out of it. That's the way that the math is gonna math. So you're getting to anywhere around $120,000, $130,000 in revenue per year per Cybercab. So now we have to ask ourselves, what is the current Uber demand in large cities? Put that Cybercab stuff to the side. Let's focus on Uber. Uber has roughly 700,000 to 850,000 Uber drivers in metro areas over 2 million. So I'm focusing on that because that's the target market where you're gonna have these 7-mile range, 3-mile range, 4-mile range Uber rides. Well, now Cybercab rides. Put that aside in your brain. Now let's ask ourselves, how many Model Ys does Tesla Gigafactory produce in a week? And Model Ys, that's not Cybercab, I know. But if we can do 5,000 Model Ys in a week out of Texas, then we could probably do 5,000 Cybercabs in the snap of our fingers out of Texas. Now, remember that, 5,000 a week, Cybercabs. Remember, we got about 700,000 to 800,000 Uber drivers in the cities with 2 million people and over. So how many cities are there like that? Well, there's about 25 cities here that have the metro area of 2 million, and that currently is requiring 700 to 800,000 Ubers currently. Now let's go back to the Cybercab. The Cybercab operating cost is going to be about 20 cents per mile. That's the target goal for Tesla. Now, a 7-mile ride per trip, remember, which I think that's on the high end. I think a lot of these rides are gonna be 2-3 miles, I think especially in the cities. At 20 cents, you're at $1.40 in operating costs for the Cybercab. Now remember, we did 56 to 60 rides per day, average trip 7 miles, average fare is $6, operating cost 20 cents per mile. That gives us $1.40 like we said. So here's the numbers. Daily revenue, 336 to 360. Operating costs, 78 to 84. Daily gross profit, 257 to 276. Annual revenue, right there. Annual operating costs, gross profit, about 100K. I think we're gonna be more on the higher end for this number because you have to think about those 2-3 mile rides, those like 5-6 minute rides that are gonna be really quick, and then a quick pickup right after that. So I think we're gonna be closer to this 100K. So let's focus on that. So if we're at 100K and we put out 1 million Cybercabs, let's just say 1 million Cybercabs, that means For every million Cybercabs, we're going to have $100 billion in gross profit. So whenever you're thinking about Cybercabs, and if you hear an Elon Musk or some analyst or whoever throwing around how many million Cybercabs there's going to be, roughly in your head, you can gauge, at least for the first million or 2 million, that you're going to have $100 billion in gross profit per million. Okay. Very cool, right? Now, let's go do some math. So 2027, that's right around the corner. It's 2026, summertime right now. This is what I do with stocks. I put myself in time. I look at time and I think about where we are 6 months out. Okay, it's 2027, beginning of 2027. Let's say average at the end of the year, we're doing 5,000 a week. So let's say at the beginning of 2027, maybe we're not at 5,000, but maybe by the end of 2027, we're at 7,000, 8,000 a week in production. So let's say the average for 2027 is 5,000. Times 52 weeks, you're at 260 Cybercabs. Times $100,000 that each one's gonna make, you're at $26 billion in gross profit. They're going to end the year at an annualized revenue run rate of $26 billion. Sorry, 26 billion gross profit, not revenue, but you get what I'm saying. They're going to end 2027 doing that. Now, this is not including what Tesla's already doing. This is not including Megapacks, FSD subscriptions, semis, chips. All that is separate. We're focusing on the Cybercab numbers, the Robotaxi numbers. So that's 2027. Okay, remember we have 260,000 vehicles. That's the key number. Now we're in 2028. 2028, we double it. We're doing 10,000 a week. That means we're gonna have 520,000 times 100,000. We get to $52 billion in gross profit for 2028. Now we're gonna add that to the 26 billion we're already doing from the vehicles that are already on the road back from 2027, because those vehicles are still gonna be on the road making money. So that gives us $78 billion in gross profit that we should be annualizing towards at the end of 2028. Remember, my number was 1,400 for my price target. So now that's the end of 2028, right? The market is forward looking. So because the market's forward looking, we need to look at 2029 and start doing some 2029 numbers to figure out the forward multiple that Tesla might be trading at that's going to give us this price. So now 2029, we double again, and we're at 20,000 vehicles times 52 weeks. You're at 1 million new vehicles that could be created by the end of 2029. So 1 million vehicles times 100, you're at $104 billion, plus the 78 billion that you already have that you're making. So now you're at $182 billion in gross profit 2029. Now, what's the multiple? Well, I put it at a nice, fair 30 times forward multiple. If Tesla is trading at 30 times this $182 billion number, that gives us a market cap of $5.46 trillion. Now, how many shares outstanding is there for Tesla? So there's 3.76 billion shares outstanding. So you take the 5.4 divided by the 3.76 billion, and you're left with a price target of $14.52. So I think the Cybercab TAM, at least for the first couple million Cybercabs, is roughly a $5 trillion opportunity, market cap wise. Little more than 5 trillion. That's where my math is coming to. And I think sometime by the end of 2028, we could be around this 14.52 price. This is not including Optimus. Maybe Optimus starts picking up at this time. So this 30 times forward multiple could be, I could be way undershooting it. So let me know what you think of that. That's where my mind's at. Now that we know that Cybercab is going to be coming out soon. We're seeing all the signs. We're seeing all these vehicles coming out of Texas. There's like 100 something sitting in parking lots. It's coming. It's coming right around the corner. Any day now, we're going to get some announcement of some bigger launch, bigger release of Robotaxi, Cybercabs. And then people are going to start doing this math. And then this video will start making more and more sense. So this is not financial advice. This is just my opinion. This is just me having fun, me speculating about Tesla. And make sure you check out feedmetrades.com right here. It's a website I built to help you track all your covered calls, all your cash secured puts, all your call debit spreads, your put debit spreads, whatever option stuff you're doing, you can track it on feedmetrades.com. Great website, check it out. And stay healthy, stay wealthy, and stay tuned for the next one.